Stop, Benjamin. Oh, what is it?
I was looking forward to this all day. I was really thirsty, really in the mood to drink a Red Bull sugar-free, but I knew I had to wait. Cheers.
Cheers. I'm glad that that's an important part of your day and that we can share that moment together.
It's a habit now. It's a tradition. But yesterday I checked last week's episode, saw that Will was here and did a fantastic job, in my opinion. Good guy.
Yeah, it was a fun little episode. I think we had a couple of audio issues. I don't know if you checked out the whole episode. It was interesting for Will to, yeah, he has a huge office and he was having trouble finding a place in this huge place. Like for the last 2 minutes before we got on, he was running everywhere looking for a room to get. Have
We don't have an office, and we always find a place.
Yeah, we always find place. No, but it was fun. It was a good episode. We spoke a lot about his topics, which is sports betting and stuff, which actually is interesting because today's show, intentionally or by accident, is a lot about topics that we've been covering recently. You were, of course, in New York
Yep.
uh, at some big NFT events, and I was just in London for the Web3 in Sports Summit. So that seems to be the theme of the show as well.
I'm always happy to talk about this
Yeah.
topic, as you
And
know.
any interesting learnings from New York? Anything apart from everything is ape shit?
No, not really. I mean, for me, it was just about meeting some people that I never met in person before, and it's always nice to connect in person. That builds relationship, and I was just curious to see who those people are who I just know by username, and they're all good folks, I have to say. Normal
Yeah.
people, nothing crazy, no super nerds, or maybe these are the ones that stayed at home. I don't know, but no, I got along well, had a good time. That's it. And I mean, even though like global economy is struggling, stock market is struggling, crypto is struggling, NFT is struggling, people are still optimistic, and maybe this is the time for, let's say, the real builders. Um, but it really felt impressive to see like this event and this power in person. I mean, I've been to NFT events in Lisbon and in Paris. They were good, but nothing compared to like the amount of information and also promotion that you've seen in New York. You couldn't avoid the topic at all. And like all the like, serious people, serious companies going into it with full force. That was interesting to see, and makes me optimistic. But I mean, I'm biased, so that's not a surprise.
Yeah, it's New York. I mean, I know Times Square had
Yeah,
screens and banners, everything about the concert. Obviously, there was Eminem and Snoop Dogg came out with their big drop of the song and all that. It's a lot of celebrity action. Yeah,
that is true. But I mean, Eminem was a bit disappointing, but because all he did was he went on stage, introduced Snoop Dogg, and then went off stage. He did not perform a single song. So I
okay.
mean, I was like, okay, if you're already on stage, maybe you want to perform as well. I don't know, but I mean, Snoop Dogg, anyways, did perform at least a little bit, and atmosphere was good, so all fine.
All righty. All right, Ben. So before we have a lineup of NFT and Metaverse news, but before that, we have some funding news to cover. Why don't you kick us off with that?
Yes, and of course, I forgot to open the first
I
tab,
just
which I'm
realized.
right now. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, we are starting with the Germans, right? So first funding round is a company called Staige, who, as you can see, secured 8.5 million euro from Borussia Dortmund. And first I was like, who is that company? I never came across them before. And then in the article, I saw it's a rebranding of a company that we know, which is Soccer Watch, German-based company in Essen, which is not so far away from Dortmund. But I was still surprised that they're as big as they seem to be, at least from the information that I got out of the article. So what did I do? I mean, it's a performance analytics platform, as we have seen a lot over the last couple of years. A bunch of names come to mind immediately, but Staige seems to be established over 1,000 locations across Europe, which I didn't know. It's mostly amateur sports. And basically, they put cameras there, they record what's happening, and you can do two things. You can analyze the performance, and you can also stream them live. And what I also didn't know, or maybe forgot, is that they also have their own streaming portal called Staige.tv, where more than 50,000 sporting and cultural events are available live and on demand. So that I didn't know. Other than that, nothing new. They all use AI. They all have their own software. They all are smart. Um, and I just didn't hear about them before, unless I realized they are previously called Soccer Watch. That is number one. I'm going to ask for your opinion after those three.
Okay.
Second one, a company that we also shared news about already is just Women's Sports from the US, media entertainment company, content production company, um, who surprisingly focus on female sports, as the name suggests. And yeah, they secured another funding round, $6 million. The old investors, Kevin Durant and Rich Kleinman's 35 Ventures, are in again, and a bunch of new names, amongst them Bold Ventures, Billie Jean King, and a bunch of others, and Dapper Labs, by the way. So I wonder when the NFT component kicks in. That's obviously a sign for that. Nothing else in that article that's super interesting. I mean, they want to expand operations, expand their content offering, and the business reach just a growth round, or maybe a bridge round in those tricky times. The one that I think I want to spend the most time on, almost close the tab with the show, is a London-based company which we are following since a couple of years already, called Carv, and they have secured 5.1 million in funding. And as the article says, they let you have more fun in the mountains. So basically, what they do is they are a hardware company, two components. You have an insole for your ski boot, and I think it's only available for skiing, not for snowboarding. And there's this little device that you see here, which you also attach to your ski boots. And what happens then is those two devices track your performance. And what is the special thing? We have seen that in running before already, is that you get real-time feedback on your headphones on how to behave on the slope in order to increase your performance. I think that's a pretty cool one. And amongst the investors is also Hyrule Capital, a company that we also have talked about before. I thought they're more on, let's say, the esports side of things, and I was surprised that I've gone into supporting hardware products as well. I'm not sure if you have a different perception of them, but yeah, these are the heavyweights, and the company itself, Carv, has already been featured in multiple interesting media outlets like Forbes, New York Times, Bloomberg, Sunday Times, or Financial Times. So got quite some attention there. Question to you: have you ever done winter sports? Because I'm not sure.
I have skied, but in Dubai. So
Ah, I somehow think we have talked about that before.
yeah, probably.
Yeah.
No, I'm not a fan of winter sports, particularly just because it's too cold. I'm not a big fan of the cold. But no, I think the product is really cool, and also really like the idea of. I mean, I generally like the idea of decent sums of money. 5.1 is a nice check.
Yeah.
It's a proper Series A check, and for that to go to a company that is doing something which is skiing is a bit of a niche sport. It's growing, adventure sports are growing, but it's still a bit niche. So it's pretty cool to see money going in that direction.
Yep. Yep. Speaking about new stuff, you have some for us as well.
I do, Ben. I do.
Your
And this
favorite
is a
topic.
story I find very interesting. And because it actually took me the most amount of time today about all the stories to actually understand what this new sports league, NFT based sports league SimWin is. So I'll walk that. Speaking about funding, there was more funding in a way, which is that a lot of celebrities, including Magic Johnson have invested in this metaverse gaming mashup of sports, esports, gaming, and Web3. This is covered. So there's a bit of literature on this article. So
Yeah,
yeah, basically, what is my
that is so cool.
Apologies.
so, sorry? Okay, I was wondering where that was coming from. Yeah. So anyway, so Magic Johnson and invested in SimWin is the name of the company, right? So I just want to show you the Forbes article, but actually I found another article which does a much better job. And what basically Magic Johnson done is bought two virtual teams in two new NFT-based sports leagues. One is American football, which has already been, a bit more public. There is a basketball-based NFT sports league to follow. His football team is called LA Magic. I think his basketball team will probably be called something similar, though there is already a Magic, but then go past that. So this article actually does a good job of summarizing it. So there's US-based SimWin Sports, which is actually founded by the guy who apparently was one of the founding members of NFL Madden. So he comes from like a gaming background. Um, so he acquired franchise, etc. We've covered that. So what? And there are a bunch of other celebrities. There is Nick Carter from Backstreet Boys fame.
Of course.
There is, yeah, of course, there is, because what is an NFT-based sports league without a Backstreet Boy? There's Jerry Rice. There's Tracy McGrady. There is LaMelo Ball. There are a few celebrities who've jumped on. All right. So what exactly? Yeah, SimWin's virtual sports are largely game of chance. Team owners can preset their game strategies and rosters while NFT holders can train players to improve their games. Right. So this is basically what the game is, and I'll try to bring up this video, some sort of job of explaining. So it's completely simulated. All right. They use the word metaverse a lot, but I'm not entirely sure that there is a metaverse actually here. This is a simulated game based on AI. Now, if you remember, we've covered Zedrun on the show, which is something that Ben and I are big fans of. It was simulated horse racing, purely digital horses. The whole thing is simulated, and there's betting happening on top of this digital race. That is basically what SimWin did, winning in sports. I'm guessing what they're going for, right? And they've got this huge launch event, of course, in the real world, because yeah, that's where the best simulated sports are talked about. So there's a simulated season which is happening, which there a bunch of team owners have their teams. I'll move past this video because the video doesn't do much. So it's a
50
simulated
Cent
sports. Sorry.
If 50 Cent is involved, then what can go wrong?
I mean, I had the same exact thought. If 50 Cent is there, then man, buy me a team. So there's a bunch of celebrities who bought sports teams, who bought the simulated team. Now, how does the game actually play? I'm going to summarize it, try it as quickly as I can and as best as I've understood it. So we, the public, the fans, will buy NFT drops to buy players. All right? These are the virtual player drops. These players can then be developed through training, right? So you're buying NFT drops to buy players, but you're also buying NFT drops for gyms or training equipment, training stations, which will improve your NFT based player. And what you don't own the player, you're an agent of the player, right? NFT player agent. So when you buy a player, you're becoming an agent by purchasing the rights. And if you become an agent, you can improve the player. And as the player is improving, they could get recruited by one of the teams and one of the owners. And based on form, then your NFT value can improve and you can make a bit of money. Simultaneously, while all this is happening, you can also bet, and there is daily fantasy, and there is through the player. This is where the player goes through. It starts as a college athlete, blah blah blah. There's a customer journey, so that you can participate in DFS tournaments. There is actually an element of sports betting which comes out. You can generate revenue. So there's a lot happening in this game.
Are we going to make the entire show about this news, or are you going to conclude it?
I think basically I've spoken about 6 or 7 minutes, and I'm still not entirely sure what the hell is going on. It's quite complicated, and I'm not so happy. So my question to you, Ben, is this feels like I don't understand the metaverse angle of this. It doesn't really. I don't think it plays out. I think it plays out in 2D. would you play? Would you buy a sports team? Would you want to be participating in these NFT drops? That's my question to you.
That specific one, probably not, because it looks too forced with all the celebrities, testimonials like Magic Johnson, Nick Carter. So that one, by the way, would you join if Brandy and Monica would own a team? Is that something we can do?
No, because even they could not convert me onto this level of horrible cash
maybe
grab holding.
maybe they're gonna perform "The NFT Is Mine" as a new song.
If they did, I would watch it. I would clap. I would feel very happy. But no,
But coming back to your question, so that specific one probably not. It's too forced, too complicated. I doubted people would go for it, because what had success in the NFT world so far was mostly, let's say, organically grown and not put onto people on top with all those not always a celebrities, let's put it that way. So that is a bit weird. In general, I like the, let's say, the meta level of tokenizing a fantasy sports game, that you can own parts of what a typical fantasy manager game would be, like the players, the stadium, the whatever, like the classic manager games that I like, but I think the approach might be a bit tricky. So that's my short response to that.
Yeah, it's overcomplicated. It is. It sounds very complicated, and things complicated tend to become easy ways to make money. So I'm not a big fan. The idea of a virtually simulated game, I mean, before we'll see it a lot more. The whole of make money while this, I'm not a big fan. But anyway, so that's the first bit of metaverse-based news. I believe you have some more.
Exactly. Today's news is full of this. It's Wimbledon time, and oh surprise, there is a Wimbledon metaverse called the WimbleWorld. I kind of like this name. It has a nice sound. And they launched it on Roblox. Roblox is, let's say, an easy option for many rights holders because it's established and bless you. It's established. They have a certain user base. All of that, what a rights holder might need. So they don't have to develop anything new. They don't have to be so experimental as, for example, the NBA is in many cases, where we had doubts about what they're actually building. So Roblox is an obvious one, or good choice, I think. And this is what it looks like. And I spent a bit of time of trying to understand what exactly is happening there. But as far as I know, all you can do is like walk around in this small virtual world, go into the center court, and you get rewarded for some activity. I couldn't find out what exactly you need to do there. But as rewards, you get you can go to the virtual Wimbledon store and you get, I don't know, some sort of outfits. I don't know, this is Andy Murray. You can get his cap or his outfit. I think you can also buy them to make some, so they make some money there. But overall, why does Wimbledon do this? I mean, A, it's a hot topic, and secondly, which is also something, obviously, they go for the under 18 demographic. We've seen that with other examples, other rights holders, other activities, and Wimbledon goes with Roblox because, as they say, it's somewhere down here. They want to and make sure that the younger generation is gonna get hooked as much as, let's say, the older generation here. I even remember that it was called hooked. So, I mean, the article says they wanna get the upcoming potential new and long-lasting tennis fans where they feel well, where they feel home, and they believe the entry for all of that is a virtual world, which then brings them to the actual game. That is basically the idea behind it. And to continue with some more metaverse news, we also had an announcement of the UEFA celebrating the upcoming Euro 2020 Women's Championship with a metaverse esports event. And before we go through the entire article here, let's see what this actually looks like. And this is where the sound was coming from.
Yeah.
So it's basically, a collaboration with what's it called again? MGL, Metaverse Gaming League. And they basically let you play those football themed games where you have to walk through this parkour. And at the very end, always is a goal where you have to, I don't know, shoot a penalty or something like this. So they try to combine classic gaming that seems to be popular, the Metaverse Gaming League, with some football angle and with the UEFA branding. And their hopes is, oh, watching the old episode, that again they can get the younger generation of fans. That's basically it. So again, we have shared some metaverse news, different approaches, different virtual worlds. Any of those that creates or gets your attention or desire to play them?
I mean, of the two, I think the UEFA one is pretty straightforward. Also built on Roblox itself. So yeah, Roblox is actually working with both. The WimbleWorld one is more interesting. I think that it seems like a next step of what the Australian Open tried to do. Um, and I remember going into that virtual world. I haven't checked out WimbleWorld yet. Funnily enough, I was because I was in London yesterday. I was actually watching Andy Murray lose pretty badly. I mean, I was in one of those open parks with big screens with a bunch of British fans who were just constantly disappointed because he wasn't doing much. So I can't imagine much of his merchandise will sell too strong. But yeah,
Maybe he's
sounds
gonna hang
interesting.
out there. Maybe he's gonna hang out on Roblox for a bit. Now he has
I
some.
think he has all the time in the world to do that now. So maybe he'll probably find him there. But yeah, I mean, those are more interesting applications. I'd be curious to check it out. I think the Wimbledon one. Yeah, I'll give it a look.
Cool. And we continue with virtual stuff.
More virtual worlds from tennis and football. We go to basketball. Man, it feels like the NBA. We keep saying this. The NBA is constantly doing some partnership after another partnership after another partnership. In fact, just yeah, like I said yesterday, we were hearing from the Meta guys because the NBA did something with the Oculus and Metaverse, and they were talking about what they did, and I was like, they didn't really do much. We just did a one-off thing, and that was it. But here's another thing that the NBA is doing with Niantic. Niantic are the guys who developed Pokemon Go, and some people were severely injured and even almost died and stuff like that. But a lot of people, a lot more, had a lot of fun. And Pokemon Go was interesting, and you saw the application grabbing AR-based objects which you collect as you go along in physical spaces. And you can straight away see the application in the NBA. So what they're going to do is create an augmented reality mobile game called the NBA All World. Is right here. I won't play the video for you because there's absolutely nothing in the video. It just shows it could be a movie video. There's basically the sun emerging and it says NBA All World. But basically, the game is that you'd be walking around neighborhoods and collecting things like shoes and basketballs and various objects, AR-based objects, which you can then equip players with that you might own or you might be yeah, holding or something, and then these players will compete. So basically you'll improve your avatar's rating by collecting a lot of objects and stuff, and then you'll compete, and then your player will win or not win depending on what it is. But they want to connect it back to real world courts. So it says over here they've connected 10,000 courts mapped out,
Hundreds,
where
hundreds.
100,000, sorry, yeah, thank you for the correction. 100,000 courts, 100,000 plus courts mapped out, which will probably be courts that actual, today's basketball stars have played on. As it says here, internationally, where Doncic, Rubio, or the Gasol brothers used to be on their courts collecting stuff about them and getting all excited, right? So it has some interesting applications. Yeah, so get outside, step into sneakers, go one on one, get into your neighborhood with mini games, and pick up sneakers and gear, etc., to increase the performance of your squad. I think this game I can see, and I can see it becoming. I'll play the video just for fun. Like I said, but I can let it go while Ben you're talking. But I can see this game.
What I wonder is what does having mapped out 100,000 plus courts mean? Is it like the Google cars that went there and recorded like the court, or is it just using Google Maps material? I really don't understand what it is.
I got, yeah, I have no idea, but I can imagine it'll be probably probably actually map it because yeah, they would want to go into the corner of the court behind. They can just rely on Google's data, which being maybe an aerial view, and as video is not being, but Google rely on Google's aerial views. They'll need more, let's say, detailed hide these artifacts, because obviously there are now people. I think that'll be the most interesting, because there'll be a bunch of hoopers who are playing basketball, and there are a bunch of kids or whatever age running around with phones looking for these gadgets on the courts. Like, get out of there. I think it
In the
might create
Bronx.
some more accidents.
I need to find my little my little gadget in
Yeah,
the Bronx basketball.
yeah,
No, I
yeah.
think they're
So
just mapping out. It just means they know that they exist, and then they just place items there. Because I really don't think they went everywhere. I think it's not doable.
I don't know. Yeah, but I guess they'll have to pick a spot, right, where they map. I don't know how the actual mechanics of Pokemon Go work, because if a Pokemon Go is hiding behind that bush, they need, or that tree, or under this table, or under that traffic light, like they need some sort of image of what that is potentially like. I don't know. I mean, I don't know what level of detail they get to, but yeah, but I can see the use case for this game. I can see a bunch of people getting interested to, go pick
Yeah,
up gear and kit out their athlete, and then their player is, one on one. We are on the same court, so our digital avatar is playing. I think this could be fun. I think this could be a fun little game.
I agree. They should have partnered with what's this basketball court home court app again? What's it
Home
called?
court.
The home court. Yeah,
Yeah,
maybe they have lots of footage already, but whatever. No, I
yeah.
like it. In Pokemon Go was a big success. The story is good. It brings people to the courts that are like, and yeah, I would love to see more, not just the fancy promo video.
Yep.
What we all would have loved to see more of, but what is not gonna happen, is some meta hardware. Two
Yep.
of them actually seem to be ditched. The first one is the watch. And according to Bloomberg, that is never going to happen, because Facebook is having some issues on the revenue side of things. It's slowing down. The word is struggling, as we all know. Plus, and that's an interesting fact, they seem to have lost in April, just 1 month, 3 billion. Oh no, in Q1, sorry, 3 billion Q1 for Metaverse development. All that Metaverse stuff is eating a lot of money. And that is part of why they seem to have ditched that watch. And they had some issues with the camera. They wanted to do some fancy stuff with it. Not exactly sure where it was in that article. It was somewhere here. Oh yeah, the second camera. The camera seemed to be a roadblock to a feature that wanted to use. I have no idea how to properly pronounce that word. How would you pronounce it?
Electromyography.
Okay, they wanted to use electromyography and convert nerve signals into digital commands. I mean, that's a massive task, and I can see that this can be a roadblock. But they seems like they did not figure it out, especially because on that back camera, and I asked myself, how would a back camera work on a smartwatch? What is a back camera? Is it like on the bottom part of the watch that reads something? Where's the back camera? What do you think?
Where is the back camera?
Yeah, so where's front and where's back on the watch?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think the front is on the top, but I don't know, here and here, or one is on the side and one is on the front. I have no idea.
Yeah, so
Or is it
nevertheless,
actually that it's on the back and you take off your watch and you have to point it at?
I have no idea. And yeah, it's not gonna happen as it seems. And just to remind you of it quickly, the first pictures of that watch were leaked last year.
Yeah.
There you have your front camera, and I don't see a back camera anywhere. Pretty normal design, nothing crazy, but is likely never gonna see the light of day. And also interestingly, came a bit earlier in June already, it seems like they also are not gonna produce the AR glasses that everybody seems to be working on. We heard that from Apple, we heard that from Meta. at least not as a consumer device. So they continue to use it for presentation purposes when they speak to companies of what is possible, but it seems like they're not going for it. And the reasons were pretty much the same. Is the slowed revenue growth, which also comes with a freeze of hiring. So Meta struggling big time, it seems. Facebook not so relevant anymore. The Metaverse development is a bit tricky. Ditching the hardware products. The only success on that field is the Oculus purchase that they have made. Where do you think the company is heading? Are they gonna leave the hardware things aside? Are they just skipping a step? What's your take on it?
No, I think the article also goes on to say that, as you said, they're stopping the work on Portal, which is, as in not to make it consumer, but their version 2 product, which has a name, but that will still continue. So they will develop a product. They're just not launching anytime soon, which is why it delays. Even the smartwatch, these are rumors, of course, we don't know for sure, but it seems like these are products that are being delayed. Whether they've been cancelled completely, we are yet to see. So I'm pretty sure they'll still launch a set of AR glasses, which just won't happen next year. I think it's going to happen the year after. Interestingly, I mean, even yesterday, I think this is the direction I watched. I'm sure there was maybe some conversation around it in New York, but I watched a presentation yesterday from BT Sport, who we've seen actually do some innovative work. They were working with Nreal, which is another AR glasses, Nreal Air, and how BT Sport was working with companies, with this company Nreal Air, which is a consumer product already. I had a look at that, so I can see what Meta is thinking, that they want to have these glasses, the Portal one, which they're going to show companies and use for presentations and show possibilities, but it's can't be launched at scale yet because it seems like the AR VR glasses set there isn't good enough tech to launch it at scale, so they're just buying more time before they launch it. I think they will still go down the route of hardware. Whether the company survives till then, whether they have enough revenue and they can exist for another year or 2 years, that's a different question. They're having some issues, but I think they have, from what I last read a few maybe months ago, they have the cash reserves, which is they're burning through, but they have the cash reserves, and I think they will launch this product. Same with Apple, same with all these guys. They will launch some form of glasses because I think this is the next transformative tech. Like whoever can crack how your eyes see and interact with the AR world, that is the next piece of like quantum leap of what the touchscreen phone was. I think so. Somebody's going to do it, and I think Meta's in that race.
The question is it lenses or is it glasses actually, or
Yeah.
both? Who knows, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've seen lens tech. There are companies that do it, yes, of course. But I think if you don't, I'm this pure layman. I'm not a sensor developer in any way. But I feel like if you can't solve it for here, to make it even smaller to put it in your eye directly, that's intense. So yeah, we'll see who wins. But I'm sure you've seen this already, Ben. We have a question from Dennis.
Yes, I was getting to this. He is asking if there's no better graphics for the women UEFA game these days, and I think he's referring to the video that we showed, and this is the press article to it. I mean, they decided to go with Metaverse Gaming League, which is basically the company organizing those games. But the technology behind, same as the news that we shared before with Wimbledon, is actually Roblox. And I mean, Roblox is used all around the world, large audience. It's a certain style of gaming, I would say. I'm sure, there are better graphics, but seems like the under 18 generation is happy with what they're seeing there. That would be my answer. Or do you have any other on?
No, nothing to add. I think, as you said, it's fairly straightforward. This is what works for Roblox, and UEFA was jumping on that existing infrastructure. There is obviously we've seen tons of graphics that are much better, but that's not what they're trying to do.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's successful for some reason, and I think it makes sense for them to stick with that existing solution.
Yeah. All right, Ben, that is our show. We've gone a bit over, but Nice to have another chat. You have something else to add?
Important to mention is that we are entering a summer break.
Yes, we are.
Yeah. So July is the month where we traditionally take things a bit lighter here at Sports X. So July, you won't see us again, but we are back in August. Let me quickly have a look at the calendar. What's the first week in August? Thursday the 4th.
Actually, we could be back on the 28th of July, or we could be back on the 4th of August. Do you have a preference, Ben?
I mean, you know my answer if you ask me.
Okay, yeah, we'll probably be back. We might take the month off. We have some things to do. So yeah,
Let's
we'll
say
see you on the 4th of August.
latest August 4th is a good answer. If you miss us too much, send a message to Ron. Thank you.
I'll be around. I'll be around somewhere. Who
Yeah.
knows
All right,
where? But
everyone.
probably on some basketball courts, looking for gear. Yeah. See you guys.
Fantastic. Have a good month of July. See you soon.